They have an identity in their matchup zone. They're really good at it. They fly around. They caused 21 turnovers. I don't think they pressed at all against their last game last Saturday. They didn't press, didn't extend. They sit in that zone. They've got James, Forbes, Walker, and Watson. And those guys are, all around 6'5", 6'4". They got a skill big and cross. They got a freshman I really like that comes off the bench, and Forbes. Pope. I'm sorry. Forbes is their best player, best offensive player. But they start 4 guards, and then when they go traditional, they bring the freshman Pope in to go with Cross. So, he's switched channels with his team this year, kind of brought in 4 or 5 new guys. They run good stuff on offense. They all can shoot. I think they got down 14 or 15, might have been 18. I can't remember, against Memphis in the first half. And then at halftime, it was a 1-point game. Shows you how dangerous they are with the 3-point shot. Watson, Forbes, Walker. Those guys are going to take most of the shots. CrossFits for him, CrossFits for him because he's a passing big. He can play. When we play against teams that run a lot of side pick and rolls, the big that sets the screen is either going to roll or pop. The guys that pop usually chase into pass and chase into a screen, then pop again. Those are the ones that you really have to game plan or scheme for, whatever you want to call it. And that's the way they play. The ones that roll a little bit, you can set your defense for that, but the teams that are constantly moving it from side to side, chasing the ball screens, bigs are popping. That means our bigs, Bryson Gresham or J1 or Reggie, all of a sudden now they're not protecting the rim. They're out on the perimeter. And that was one of the challenges SMU posed for us when Shark was at the 5. So I like their team. They play hard, well coached, and they've gotten better. For all of us, this is tomorrow's January the 9th. We're all still, still around our 9th or 10th game, or 10th or 11th game. So we're still growing. Nobody is a finished product yet. You're still trying to figure out who's where, who's what. In a traditional year, we wouldn't even be to Christmas yet. We'd probably be in the 3rd week of December. And we all have to remember that. Not you guys, coaches and players, we have to. We're not, this is not, because of the pandemic, it's not a normal year for progression. Everything's later. Usually by the time you get to the 2nd or 3rd week in January, your team's a little bit more fluid. They flow a little bit easier. Your new guys have adjusted. They've picked up the nuances of your defenses and offenses and out of bounds plays, all the little things that you do. And we're certainly not a finished product, which is why I think our team can continue to get better.
All right, Chris, thank you. We'll go to Matt Musil with KHOU. Matt, go ahead with your question.
Hey, Kelvin, good morning. I just want your thoughts on Quentin Grimes. This guy was fantastic in high school, had the year at KU, and it's like the other day, he was working, and then he just led that team, helped lead that team to a win in the second half. Just how he's developed, Kelvin?
I think for him, it's being comfortable, having teammates that have confidence in him, not worrying about mistakes, not worrying about repercussions, and just knowing his role. Everybody on our team is a role player. He has a role. But when he became a player for me, personally is when his defense and rebounding became good. You know, that scoring and stuff that's there because of the other stuff. You know, offensive rebounding, defensive rebounding, competing for loose balls, guarding your man, fighting over ball screens, chasing with back pressure on our coverage calls. Now, all those things he had to get good at before he could do this. And I think that's where his confidence and being comfortable becomes. When the ball's tipped, he has a grasp of everything. Like he's where like Tremon's where he was last year. Tremon's a long way away from being where Quentin is right now. You know, I don't care what their numbers were in high school. That's irrelevant once they get to college. I have no idea. I don't even know the name of Quentin's high school. I don't even, where did he go to high school?
College Park.
Okay, who was, name 2 teams in their league? Anybody know?
Well, there's the Woodlands, there's Oak Ridge.
Okay, well, we don't play Woodlands or Oak Ridge.
Exactly.
So that's why his numbers are irrelevant. Well, this kid, what does it matter? A lot of kids average 30 points a game because they shoot 30 times a game. So, you know, we're probably more interested in a kid that averages 30 points a game if he shoots 15 times a game. You know,
And Kelvin, he was labeled with that NBA body, you know, in high school. He was labeled with that. That's kind of tough to live up to at all times also, right?
Well, Joseph Duarte's got an NFL body. I mean, it would be a nose guard. So the label for bodies are, I mean, that stuff is, you guys are talking media language. That is so far across town from where we are. So when you say to me, he's labeled, you lost me. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah,
I've got a, how would I label my body? A fading right fielder in the men's league softball. That's the way I'd label mine. So what does that mean?
That means you were once a good right fielder if you're now fading.
Yeah, I would say that Jeff Conrad would be labeled a guy that would be carrying the flag as we're running up the hill in the Civil War.
I'll take that,
My
Coach.
guy.
Yeah.
Now, there's some guys that will have the flute and the drums, but Jeff's the guy with the flag. That's important. Don't ever underestimate the guy with the flag. So you lost me when you said labeled something. Forget that.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll go to David Nuno from KTRK. David, go ahead, please.
Hey, Kelvin, you talked a little bit about that adjusted timeline. What do you guys need to do to be at this point in the season? Let me rephrase that. Where are you guys now in terms of where you want to be at the end of the season? You talk about it being early for you guys, but where do you want to be right now in January?
Well, it's getting late. It's getting a lot later, a lot earlier now. Just continue the process. Coaching a team is a lot like landing a plane. You have turbulence, you got birds flying into your propeller, you got all kind of stuff. It's never easy. There's always bumps in the road, but you have a process. You know how you want to like finishing games. My assistants always ask great questions in our staff meetings. How are we going to finish games this year? You always ask that question in November. I don't know. I don't know. We took the last 3 minutes of our games, the last 3 years. They're all different because every team is different. You just have to let the team go through the process, and we have an idea how we want to win games, where we want to win them, but how we finish games. Sometimes you can plan some things, but a lot of things you just have to listen to the game and let the game tell you what to do.
All right, thank you, David. The next question will go to Joseph Duarte. Joseph, go ahead, please, sir.
Morning, Kelvin.
What you say, Joseph?
And for the record, I had deceptive speed. So
Well, I was comparing you to what was our big nose guard's name? Ed.
I'm not quite all American status, but
I'm just saying position wise, you're not really a wide receiver or safety.
I get it.
Stick you in there and just clog it up, Joseph.
I give you a good inning out of the bullpen, though.
There you go. Maybe Fernando Valenzuela.
I'm a lefty too.
I like that.
So there we go.
I like
Kelvin, I want to ask about Brison Gresham. Just you look at where he's come from since he got here, and especially defensively. Last few games, he's had some really impressive moments. But just what he's kind of developed into going into what's probably one of his last years here.
Well, all these kids come in here as blank sheets of paper. They all have something they're good at, which is why we recruit them. But none of them know anything about what to do or the role they're going to play. They all come in here, sometimes with delusions of grandeur. I want to be this guy. I want to be that guy. And we start off with individual meetings, and I ask them a ton of questions. That's how you find out about them. But Bryson is a very selfless person. There's nothing selfish about him. When he first got here, we had some issues with his motor. Being a guy that understood how to give great effort, possession after possession after possession, not relaxing. Bending over, grabbing his shorts, or putting his hands on his knees. I'd hold him accountable for all that stuff in practice. And if he wasn't playing hard, then we'd hold him accountable for that. But they all progress. There's no such thing as up and down with effort. Playing hard is the most important thing a coach can teach his team. Not have a beautiful offense or run the best matchup zone ever. None of that stuff works unless you know how to play hard. And that was the thing Bryson had to learn to do. His length is a factor. Bryson's about, I don't even know how tall he is. I just, maybe I should. I never know. I never know how tall our guys are. I know how tall they play. Bryson plays like somebody a lot taller than he is. But I do know he's got about a 7-foot wingspan. Like JVA Francis, the kid we signed in November, the kid that will be a freshman here next year. He's right at probably 6'7" but he's got a 7'4" wingspan. Those guys always play bigger than they are. Bryson's a first-team All-American teammate. Cares. Boy, he really cares. He's tremendous. Takes the young guys under his wing. When he came in as a sophomore, I just listened to him. Sometimes I'll just put the whistle in my mouth and not say anything and listen to these guys. Your best teams have great player leadership. Teams that underachieve usually have poor player leadership. This team has good leadership. Bryson is really good for Kieran Powell and J1 Roberts. Dejan's really good for Jamal Shedd, Tremont Mark, Quentin. That's where Quentin's really blossomed, is talking and communicating, getting out of his shell. But teaching kids or emphasizing playing for something bigger than yourselves, giving yourself to realizing that it's not always about you, being a giver. That's as much a part of coaching as anything else. But you have to have high character kids now. High character kids will buy into those kinds of things. Kids that aren't high character tend to be immature, entitled, and thinks the world revolves around them. And those are the kids we try not to recruit.
All right. Thank you,
Do you
Joseph.
think do you think Kelvin, that playing alongside Chris last year, certainly helped him, but prepared him for that bigger role this year, being the guy?
Yeah. If you think about his process, Joseph, it was his first year, it was Bryson, then Chris. Bryson was ahead of Chris. Then last year, Chris moved ahead of Bryson. Then it was Chris, then Bryson, then Fabian. We played Fabian a lot with Nate. I like to close games a lot with Fabian at the 5 and Nate at the 4 with 3 guards. And I didn't think Bryson was as locked in as he needed to be, and there's so many things that go on during the course of a season in basketball. That's why basketball is so much different than football, is because we cross semesters. We start in September and we don't end till March. If football starts in August, they're done in December. So the longer period of time you have with a group, the more issues you're going to have. When when families are together, there's always arguments. There's always misunderstandings. There's always a little fight here, a little fight there. And so a lot of times a coach is a fireman. You learn to put out brush fires before they become forest fires. And you're always doing that. I walk in every day with a hose. Where's the forest fire today? That's part of being a coach. So there's so many things about you guys' job. I have no idea how I would begin to start writing a story and putting it in the computer and then sending it somewhere. But coaching is managing, encouraging, leading. There's so many things involved. But when I look at Bryson, from where he started as a sophomore to where he is now, he's where he should be. Part of our deal is to help these kids go from being boys to men. Bryson's a man. He's really come a long way. I'm really proud of Bryson. And he only has 3 credits. 3 credits, 1 class. Dejan graduated in December. Bryson and Justin go into this semester with 3 credits to get their degree in May. And that's a huge accomplishment for those kids and their families.
All right. Anybody else?